Sorry about that. Hey everyone, what's happening? How are y'all doing? Hello everyone. Dogepod, what's happening? I've been seeing you. You've been active a lot on social media. Hey Strawberries. Hey Chris, what's happening? Hello. Hey Mark. How's it going? Marie, adorable. Dave, I finally got out of school. I'm so happy. That's awesome. I'm very happy for you. Good job. I assume, like, I assume you're referring to, like, high school? Is now the time that high school is letting out, or college? Law school lets out a lot earlier than everyone, so I don't know where, like, other schools are at, but, whichever one it was, congrats. Happy for you. See, like, adjust this. Wait, no. There we go. High schools are letting out around now, yeah? Oh, nice. All right, good job. Congratulations. Also, by the way, I apologize for kind of changing stuff. I know I'm constantly changing. Wait, hear me out here. What do you think of the old pride flag? It's fine. I don't know. I don't have, like, any particular, like, preferences as far as, like, the old... Like, I know that, like, the original flag had more colors. It's like one of these was dropped, or, like, one or two of them was dropped. But, like, it's good. Yeah, I don't really have any, like, strong preferences between that and, like, the one that came after it that ultimately became the pride flag for a good while. And as far as, like, the newer one, like, new one's fine, you know? Including intersex people seems good, so, yeah. Ah, good stuff. Yeah, I don't have any super strong feelings on it. Anyway. But let's get up the classic music. Where is that? There we go. Get up that music. Yeah, there we go. I watched Evie Lupin's Is BDSM Always Sexual video. She basically subtweeted you and responded to your issue about academic sources on BDSM. Okay, I mean, if that's in reference, I don't know. The whole Kink at Pride saga is about to go up tomorrow, but I still haven't really been moved on, like, I mean, again, to summarize for basically, like, where my understanding of kink is now, as far as, like, so there's, like, 3 separate questions, but on the question of, like, is kink inherently sexual? It depends on how you define it. I think that the strongest and clearest definition of kink is one where, like, to do kink is to do something which is appealing to a sexual desire or interest, because every other definition that people have given me hasn't been very convincing, has led to either over-inclusion or under-inclusion of certain things that we would or would not want to be included or excluded respectfully. And then, like, if you want to, you could go with the definition of kink where it's like, it includes appealing to sexual desires or interests or referencing actions which appeal to the sexual desires or interest, right? Like the infinity collar example, where it's like, you're not necessarily always wearing it for a sexual purpose, but you're referencing back to a relationship that is sexual in nature. Like, that seems to be the clearest definition. But at that point, I would just say that that's, like, referential. I don't know. It's like the difference between, like, sex and gender, right? Like, even if you wanted to make the distinction, like, the argument that, like, gender is referential of sex, we recognize that they're meaningfully distinctive and different from one another. You don't just, like, just because gender is in some way referential of biological sex, you don't throw that under the umbrella of sex, right? Like, we've already recognized the distinction here. It doesn't make sense to not recognize that, like, the referential versus the actual distinction in other respects. Pride discourse, yeah. How come Bethesda didn't mention you while talking about ESO at E3? I don't know. Bethesda, what's up with that? What is up with that, Bethesda? Why are you not talking about, why are you not, what do you call it? Bringing up your #1 streamer? Huh? What's going on with that? Well, yeah, I know. I'm just talking about Russell's thing, which is like, well, oh, hold on. I just got a message. I don't really care. I mean, like, if people want to just, like... Oh, hey, I gotta go really quick. I'm gonna hop into my stream channel, so anyone who's, like, a friend or a public figure who wants to entertain chat for a little bit, you're welcome to. Just don't get me thrown off of platforms. All right, don't violate TOS. Anyway, I'll be right back. I gotta get something. All right, there we go. All good. Took care of something important. Yo, what do you think of the new Smash characters? I have no idea. I've not seen them. Anyway. Let's see. So what I'm thinking of doing... is basically we're going to go through and we're going to review the debate. I think that we're only going to keep it to the area on CRT. We can do the other areas if people want to, but it seems like the CRT area was the only area where people actually cared. And I don't know. The transphobia part, I thought, like, I don't know. I didn't think that there was actually any meaningful, like, he didn't actually, like, know what he was talking about there. And then with the last one, it's just like, oh, is this study actually good? Which, if what he's going, I mean, like, we can go over that if people want to, but it seems like, you know, if time is only permitting that we're able to go over the CRT one, and that's, like, the best use of our time, then we can just do that. As we're going through, I've got this over here to take notes. So essentially what we're going to be doing is, like, as we're going through, we're just going to be getting quotes for the first time. So, debate notes. And we're going to get, like, notes of, like, important claims or interactions, right? So that we could be able to address them later. Like arguments that should be fact-checked, or things that we need to, like, you know, destroying transphobes is your pastime, RGR. I mean, like, I don't know. It's I don't want to make it into, like, destroying. It's more a matter of, like, I know those arguments so well for the most part that it's just, you know, that I can't imagine, like, the only people who I could even conceive of having, like, a meaningful debate with. Well, actually, I don't want to say that because I don't want to, like, invite people onto here. Like, I'm not looking for a fight or whatever. I'm just saying, like, I know the people who could actually have, like, a meaningful debate on those issues, and they are very few. Anyway, so we're going to be going through, editing together the video to make it look nice and spazzy. And we're going to get, like, meaningful quotes that we're going to be, like, you know, writing down our notes on. And, you know, like, as we're going through, we're just kind of, like, getting the lay of the land. Let's see. We're also going to put this out at a minute, because we're going to make, like, an opening clip that's going to be a TikTok that we'll use to advertise the video, which is also what we're doing for the Kink at Pride Saga. By the way, the entire Kink at Pride Saga is ready to go up. It's just, like, it's literally 11 hours long, because I included every single conversation, and I didn't want to go through all of that and edit them all down. So we'll be refining the process as we go. I like the general idea of, like, putting all the conversations on CRT is the big thing, giving ignorant transphobes time of day when there are other things discussed. Sounds like a waste of time for the most part. Yeah, I get that. That's kind of where I'm at with it. So it's like, but yeah, so, like, the whole Kink at Pride video, that's going up tomorrow. I'm not expecting it to perform well. It's literally just every discussion, or almost every discussion I had, just put together into one video. So that it's not just, like, my entire feed is, like, 10 discussions on Kink at Pride, right? It's just, like, one video, and we have a TikTok that'll advertise for it. So that way y'all are, like, you know, every other video that you get from me for the next week or so isn't just, like, Kink at Pride, Kink at Pride, Kink at Pride, Kink at Pride, you know? If you want to watch one video, then it's all going to be there, but it's going to be, like, an 11-hour video. But that'll go up tomorrow. But yeah, so hopefully in this case, we only have a couple discussions to go over, so we should be able to reasonably do all those. All right, first things first. Take this down. There we go. And then put this here. Bring this down. Make this scale a bit bigger. Why is the scale a little bit off? There we go. I love having it all together. So much easier to review. Yeah, there you go. Content. Yeah, exactly. All right, here we go.
But with 3 people, I think you're all not exactly unruly individuals. I think you can all keep order.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm a pretty chill back. Also, by the way, how Did I misgender myself? I don't think I did. I think I was going to say something else, but it sounds like I said guy.
You got really.
Okay, the beginning is literally just a bunch of... Stop it. All right. I still stand by guy being gender neutral now. Yeah. I mean, like, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, I try not to care because I know that, like, they're... Like, even with trans people, there are trans people who I interact with who will refer to me as, like, guy. Because I know that they're doing it in a gender neutral way. Like, especially with trans people, I know that they're not intending to misgender me. It just always feels weird. You know, like, I don't know. I just don't love it personally. It's kind of like, I'm not sure how many people remember back. Like, there was, like, a very short discourse a couple months ago where I tweeted out asking if calling a trans woman a dickhead was transphobic. And most people, I think that the overwhelming response was to say no. I just felt like, I don't know, it just made me dysphoric. So I was like, all right, well, if that's like the general understanding, then that's fine. Just don't refer to me like that, you know? It's kind of like the dude positive, negative. I'm like, nah, dude negative. Like, nah, I'm not about it. Even though I have like big bra energy. I don't know. Can be like a bra girl, but not a dude girl, if that makes sense.
Vanished.
Yes.
Then kick it over to you, Dylan, to introduce the. I think that given critical race theory and whether or not it should be.
Okay, we're starting right back here. Okay.
Okay.
Riley, you gotta have better timestamps. I will. I'm working on it. Listen, it's just hard because like I'm trying to like get it down because like it's hard to be able to capture everything that I'm doing without with a limited amount of time I have, right? Because I'm trying to get my schedule so that basically all of my work I do on stream and during just like the limited time, like 8 to 11. I'm streaming a little bit more today because I'm not going to stream tomorrow or Friday because I'm having a guest visit who I'm going to be spending the weekend with. Just turned British and used the word mate. God damn it.
Sorry about that. As mentioned, I will do a quick 2-sentence introduction to modern day debate. Then, I don't know if you heard me before. Did I vanish? Did you see I vanished?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. As mentioned, I will do a quick.
Okay, we'll start here.
As mentioned, I will do a quick 2-sentence introduction to modern day debate. Then kick it over to you, Dylan, to introduce the Dylan Burns TV panel and debate program. The panel and debate program and basically from there to keep it moving quickly, Dylan, if you want to hand it over to the speakers, I think that given it's trending on Twitter today, we can jump right into critical race theory. And so Dylan, if you want to toss the ball to the speakers, and if anybody has a strong opinion, something you're like, hey, I have an insight that I think people haven't thought about when it comes to critical race theory and whether or not it should be taught in schools, for example, and here it is. If you want to jump in that way. Otherwise, I've got a couple of questions, kind of like backup questions I can ask you in terms of getting the ball.
I was taking out like little short pauses.
I can ask you in terms of getting the ball rolling on that. Everybody feel good? On that, everybody feel good?
Okay. Quick question. Do you want to go around, have people introduce themselves, and then we go into the topic, or?
I'm actually.
Topic or?
I'm actually. How about of the speakers? Do you guys have a preference? How about?
Topic or?
Of the speakers, do you guys have a preference?
I really don't care.
I'm fine with whatever.
Yeah, I think maybe. Well, how about? Do you guys have a preference?
I really
No.
no. I really don't care.
Or?
Of the speakers, do you guys have a preference?
I really don't care.
I'm fine with whatever.
Yeah, I think.
I'm fine with whatever.
Yeah, I think maybe. Well, how about this? The first time in which you speak, please do. We invite you to please do mention your channel, your main platform, and then if you want to say I generally lean this way or this way on politics.
Okay, we might just take out all this
the issue's the
introduction.
same, so feel free to introduce yourself, whatever. Cool.
Okay,
Thanks.
sounds good to me.
All right, so I'm gonna kick into the stream. One thing that we ought to do that's a good idea is if you guys want.
Yeah, I'm just gonna cut this.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, all right, I'm just gonna cut out this intro part.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Modern Day Debate, as we're thrilled to have you here for this epic debate and panel. And want to let you know, folks, if it's your first time here at Modern Day Debate,
Having only 3 panel on this debate was weird. I'm pretty sure Steven said, yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I messaged Destiny after the fact, and it's we were talking, and I was just how do you feel? And it was just I don't know. It was, yeah, basically, he just felt weird because it didn't want it to seem like a 2-on-1, that we were dogpiling Sean, right? And honestly, the reason that that's the main thing, right? Is that he mainly didn't want to be dogpiling AJW. This is ironic. I mean, this is we can talk about this. We can talk about this more later, but this isn't a limit. I'm not sure if I want to call this a limitation of Destiny. I mean, this is the same thing I do, right? Because both of us were basically operating on the same thing. We're trying to be as charitable to this person as possible and as kind to this person as possible. But you can't do that with every person. You can't treat bad faith actors like that. Bad faith I'm being very specific to define bad faith actors as people who, no matter what you say, will never or will almost never extend any charitability to your positions, right? I highly doubt AJW would have returned the favor. Well, yeah, I mean, we know AJW wouldn't have, because I was in a 1v3 with AJW. And do you think that AJW held back? No. Yeah, so I mean, no, we know what the inverse looks like. Well, I mean, and granted, he didn't call me, any slurs or anything, so that's good. But, he wasn't as conscious about making sure to not be, as dogpiley, to nearly the same extent as, Destiny and I were in this instance. But this can be an issue when you are not debating good faith actors. So we'll talk about that more later. But yeah, that's... the thing that sucks is that, Destiny and I went into this conversation, trying to be, acting in good faith, and the takeaway is that you just can't treat everyone the same way, I think your approach of being nice is really good. Yep, well, listen, I mean, I'm gonna keep doing it, but, this is where... I mean, I talked about this a little bit more before, right? This is where the Vosh approach can be useful. because there is a strong argument that some people do not deserve any charitability since they will not return that favor. This is why I just like don't like, because like this is the reason why I'm just like now I'm just taking the approach to not talk to bad faith actors. Because I mean, like, I want to talk to people who I disagree with, but I want to make sure I'm talking to people who will actually be responsive to my arguments and not just try to like ad hom or attack me or whatever, right? You know, but like, because like once you start getting into a discussion about that, it becomes a fundamentally different discussion. Now the discussion isn't really about the subject matter. Now it's about just exposing the other person as a bad faith actor, right? The Vosh card, yeah, that's from back when Rose of Dawn said that when I was trying to talk to her, or she was like, this was way, I'm trying to remember exactly what the discourse was. But yeah, it's a Rose of Dawn reference because she said that I play the Vosh card. Oh, have I seen Vosh's response? No, I didn't see it. Hold on. What is it? Was he positive or negative? And what did Booksmarts have to say about it? I'm actually curious. Hold on. Because I asked Vosh if he'd want to talk about it. Like, I tried to be, like, as nice with it as I could be. And I don't think that I was mean. In fact, I specifically tried to not be mean. Everyone's been super toxic with this discourse, and I tried to be, like, as just, like, listen, like, this is just kind of my neutral read of it, you know? Bookfucker. Oh, my God. Listen, Booksmarts is a good guy, all right? And I firmly am in the belief of that. Like, every interaction I've ever had with Booksmarts has been really good. I'll just wait for you to respond. I mean, like, I don't want to detract it too much. Booksmarts had a good convo with Vosh the other day. I saw it pop up on my feed. He compared it to sexism, like you were treating him as if he didn't care about finding the truth. Wait, what? I compared it to... He compared it to sexism? What? How is that sexist? What? Yeah. All right. You know what? Never mind. I'll wait to see it. Show it to me. But if that is as bad as it sounds, then you know what? I tried to be nice and I tried to offer constructive criticism. I tried to be a good person. All right.
We are a neutral platform hosting debates on science, religion, and politics. And also want to let you know, we hope that you feel welcome no matter what walk of life you are from. And so with that, I'm going to kick it over with our co-host for the night, Dylan Burns. We are thrilled to have you here, who also hosts debates on his channel all the time. So highly want to encourage you folks to check out the links, not only of Dylan, who does host debates at his channel all the time, but also of all of our speakers, as we're very thankful to have them here. And with that, Dylan, thanks for being with us and co-hosting. The floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, James. My name is Dylan Burns. I'm the host of the hopefully lovely programs that you all
How much?
be collabing with James, because who's gonna tell us about his channel. And
hi, my name is Destiny. You can find me at twitch.tv/Destiny, youtube.com/Destiny. I'm considered like a social democrat, and I'm pretty far left-leaning socially. I'm
nearby.
I think just one more thing. Have you seen RGR's tweet that kind of explains the difference in your approach to Steven's approach?
Yeah, so
Oh, hold on. I mean,
thing. Have you seen RGR's tweet that kind of explains the difference in your approach to Steven's approach?
Yes, I still need to respond to her on that. Yes, I've seen that tweet.
And do you have any like abbreviated opinions on that?
I respectfully disagree. My principal criticism of Destiny is that he is not interested in finding the truth when it comes to interacting with lefties. I think he's incredibly hateful towards them, and it makes him say incredibly stupid stuff. So the dichotomy that was laid out by RGR honestly felt to me like a very nice version of like, men and women aren't better or worse than each other. Men are logical and women are emotional. You know, that's kind of how it felt a little bit to me. Like, oh yeah, Vosh is like the emotional one, which I reject that criticism.
What? Are you goddamn serious? Oh my god. Did he not read it? What? Okay, hold on. I just need... Alright, hold on. Just to clear this air. This is gonna give me a fucking aneurysm. So, like, to be explicitly clear about what my criticism is, and I want to be absolutely clear because I actually literally said in this argument, this is not to say that Vosh often makes incorrect arguments. I literally explicitly stipulated to it. I said clearly that that's not the case. That I'm not saying that he doesn't care about the truth. My argument is that when since it seems to be the case that he primarily cares about intent, which doesn't seem to be a bad read of the circumstance, and when his care about intent and focusing on intent comes into conflict, the mic can't take that volume. I'm sorry. But that my argument that, all right, hold on. I'll literally just read word for word. While Destiny and Vosh seem to both value the merits of arguments that they engage with, again, I say they both value the merits of the arguments that they engage with and the intentions of people who make those arguments. Destiny seems to be primarily value the former, while Vosh seems to primarily value the latter. And that's literally evident here. Like, Vosh isn't talking about Destiny's arguments. He's talking about Destiny's intent. That's what he cares about. That's what he's citing to here. He's literally citing to Destiny's intent when justifying his actions towards him or his beliefs on him. Because that's what he primarily cares about. This isn't a bad read when he literally does that right here. And to say that this is like sexism, to say, oh, well, he doesn't care about like that Vosh is too emotional. I never made any sort of claim to that extent whatsoever. At all. I'm saying that there's a different value judgment there. And it's not inherently wrong, but leads to issues. Just like Destiny's approach is not inherently correct or the best way possible because I explicitly lay out limitations of it up here as well. Both approaches, like there's no perfect way to be able to approach this. So I'm just trying to descriptively lay out the pros and cons of each. But holy fuck. Like, this is the absolute worst possible read. The absolute worst possible read of my argument. And I hate this because I've been really trying to be as charitable and to be as constructive as I can be. And if that's what I get, fuck that. End clip. Fuck it. You know what? Actually, change of plans, fam. You know what we're doing? We're making a short. All right? That's what we're doing with our time. We are making we're having a change of plans. All right? Let's see. File. File, new project. Vosh. Let's call it Vosh. God damn it. Hate this so much. Riley Joker. Yeah, literally Riley Joker moment. Congratulations. Listen, I try so hard to just be like like there's nothing that's like mean or anything about this. But fuck me. Like I really tried. I don't know. I really tried. Bleh. Bum. Wait, what the hell? Why is the timing so weird? Okay. Why is the timing on this so weird?
thing. Have you seen art?
All right, fam, let's get into editing. Let's do it. Making it happen. Bosch is online. Maybe you can talk to him. This is like the most uncharitable read that he could ever give. And I offered to talk to him already. Hold on. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. People don't like bringing up DMs. Fine. We'll bring up DMs. Let's go ahead and bring up DMs. Here's my, here literally, like, when I send it out, I literally messaged him, hey, I've been thinking a lot lately and wrote this out. Let me know if you want to chat. Totally fine if not. Either way, hope you're doing well. That's how I responded to him. I told him, hey, if you want to talk about that, that's fine. Totally cool if not. I hope you're doing well. That's what I said. Don't share too much DMs. Whatever. I don't... Like, let me be absolutely clear. Literally, when I posted that tweet, I reached out to him and said, hey, I've been thinking a lot about lately and wrote this out. Let me know if you want to chat about it. Totally fine if not. Either way, hope you're doing well. If this is the way that he's going to respond to this, instead of just, like, talking to me about it, then fuck that. Like... I cannot believe this. I literally reached out and I was like, hey, I hope that you're doing fine. I can't think of a better way to reach out to someone and try to have like a constructive conversation. And he said he wanted to respond to it properly. Hold on. All right, then let's watch the rest. Hold on.
In your mind, women aren't better or worse than each other. Men are logical and women are emotional. You know, that's kind of how it felt a little bit to me. Like, oh yeah, Vosh is like the emotional one, which I reject that criticism. I think that
that's how it felt.
Do an admirable job of trying to assess the truth of the situation, and I think that Destiny does so when he's not dealing with lefties. You know, that's pretty much the main criticism that I have. I would have to reread the post to fully remember like the broader premises, but that's my feeling. In short,
Yeah.
I have been sexist against. I have been the victim of sexism.
All right, this doesn't seem to be getting better. It seems to be getting worse. This is not getting better, people. I have been sexist against.
My take.
Okay. Because like I wonder if like her thing about intentionality and you caring about that is it all coming from the supererogatory talk that you had with Steven, because it seemed like during that time the reason why you didn't want to levy a lot of criticisms against your fellow leftist content creators is because their hearts are in the right place and they're pushing an ideology that is ultimately going to be like beneficial to the world in a way that you can like really see and understand, and so you don't want to like, you know, I thought maybe that's partly playing into that, but
Yeah,
if you wholeheartedly disagree with
Well, it's not wholeheartedly. I understand why Riley feels those things, and I
understand why Riley feels those things. If anything is going to be sexist, it's this, right? I understand why Riley feels this way. You know, women can feel a lot of different ways, you know? Now, I don't think that that's necessarily true, you know? It's just, but I totally get why she feels that way. Like, are you kidding?
also understand, I guess, the underlying drive to express the dynamic in that binary, or in that duality. Like I get the underlying logic behind this. It's just my central criticism kind of deviates from it in that way. In terms of like the extent to which intentionality applies here, I just from a utilitarian perspective, intentionality shouldn't matter as much as it does to other. Like for a virtue ethicist, intentionality is like key almost, because you're trying to assess a person's individual proclivity towards doing good, as opposed to like the consequences of the action a person engages in. Intention can be good when assessing future behavior, but
then why was that entire conversation? I mean, the entire conversation that he had with Steven in that panel was about intentionality. Like, that's what it was about. It was about, like, was the intention behind, like, the Florida election, like, did those events unfold the way that they did because of malicious intent? Like, that was the whole point of that conversation.
But in terms of like a specific action or whatever, I just don't know if it necessarily means as much. When it comes to like criticizing other content creators, for me, it's just a practical matter of maximizing good behavior in other people. And
Good behavior is doing a lot of lifting there.
often being super duper mean to them doesn't do that. And I reject the idea that that's what Destiny was trying to do. And it seems you agree with me that that's not what he was trying to do. So
Wait, in that conversation? Was Destiny? I don't think that Destiny was the one who was being mean in that conversation. That wasn't my takeaway from that. And I don't know, maybe this is my bias. I know that Vosh now thinks that, like, oh, because I'm more associated with Destiny, I'm part of Destiny's community, so therefore, you know, everything I say is biased, right? But, like, I don't think that was Destiny. I don't think that Destiny, like, acted maliciously in that conversation, you know? Like that's my honest takeaway from that.
no point in, I guess, hammering on that too hard.
Yeah, to be good faith to Riley, though. Oh,
No.
go ahead.
No, please. My brain is failing me here. Please supplement my thoughts.
Sure. Like I think that Riley, if I could just speak for her, I don't know, like give a guess, would say that like Destiny's hatred for the lefties is born out of a frustration with their constant inability to meet his requirements in terms of like making arguments that make sense or making arguments that hold up in all contexts or really sticking to that logical basis. So if he constantly sees issues with them, that's why he's hating on them and that's why he's developed this bias. Although I would admit that the bias is super problematic, and I bring it up to him every time I talk with him because it's like one of the most obvious things that he could change to improve, but I'm worried at this point that might be part of his brand, like he can't exit that anymore.
The only thing that I'd cite here is a reminder that, and this is all on public record, for a solid year and a half of my channel, I consistently said Destiny is justified in being super anti-left here because after that Peter Coffin conversation, the conversation with American Johnson, with all these other lefties he've argued with, who have been just as fucking stupid as the conservatives before them, I wouldn't be surprised that he would hate lefties either. So
I don't know. I mean, like, I will say that Destiny's Richard Wolf debate justified that bias a good bit. Yeah, I mean, like, it's hard here, right? Because, I don't know, I've been watching Destiny a lot lately. And maybe this is just... When we're talking about bias, I'm really trying hard to be accountable of my own bias. I watch a lot of Destiny's content now, and I don't genuinely get the impression that he's like so overly biased against, like there could be some bias there, but I don't get the impression that he's so overly biased against lefties to the point where it makes it so that his points are not salient, right? So that it takes away from his credibility. I think that it's something that, do I even think it's something that he can improve on? I mean, like, I have a lot of the similar frustration. I share a lot of similar frustrations with him, especially, like, for people who've been watching me with the recent, like, Calvin Gar arc. Like, there are a lot of people who are lefties who have, like, the right conclusions for the most part, but who don't understand how to be able to actually get there. And so usually what they'll do is they'll just, like in the case with Calvin, they'll just, like, make hit piece video after hit piece video after hit piece video to try and, like, bully him into doing what they want, when the correct answer is just to fucking talk to him and to, like, actually have a conversation with him, right? Like, there's very few people, and maybe that's, like, a simplified example, but, like, I've had to deal with a lot of very negative hate from people who otherwise fundamentally agree with me, and it is frustrating, right? Like, I would expect that kind of behavior. I would expect that kind of behavior from people who are a lot more conservative or who are on the right, who just want to bully me for the sake of, oh, this is just a trans person existing on the internet, right? It's weird. Like, I have a higher expectation for people who I largely ideologically agree with, who just aren't able to articulate how they actually get to their answers, or even more than that, like people who end up, because they have a different way of arriving at the same answer as me, like they'll just bully me as a consequence of like the disagreement and how we both get to the same answer, right? Like it's just very... Yeah, do you just say Calvin Gara? I got him to take down... Like, if you go to the Calvin channel, all of his problematic videos, gone. You know who did that? Me. He literally publicly accredited me with that. Or he texted me and told me that I could say to anyone who asked me about it that, like, I was the reason that those videos were taken down, right? Hey, Pixie. But yeah, so, like, I don't know. That's just, like, something recent that, like, gives me a frame of reference. Like, I can understand, like, Destiny's frustration because, like, it's more frustrating in a way to deal with people who, in large part, you're supposed to agree with on most things, but then who end up giving, like, really weird or really bad takes, right? Like, I have a higher expectation for people who are left-leaning than for people who are right-leaning, because, like, largely, y'all are the team I'm on, right? So I'm going to have a higher expectation for you. Yeah, the left is way too willing to eat this. Oh, and also, by the way, the left doesn't have a really good way of dealing with criticism or, like, with disagreement. I'm trying to resolve that within my own community. Like, I'm trying to the best of my ability to make sure that I'm constructing a space where people can be able to resolve disagreements without harming each other or trying to, like, get dunks on each other or whatever. Like, I'm really genuinely trying to. But, like, every single time this happens, every single time there's a disagreement, apparently one person has to call the other person a sexism. Like, like, that's what happened. It's unironic. Like, Vosh is literally unironically doing the thing here of, like, calling me a sexism. Why? So I don't know. Like, I don't want to speculate too much into Destiny's mindset. There's a lot of times where he is probably a lot spicier on Twitter than he needs to be, and I specifically try to not do that. I try to have, like, a healthier interaction with Twitter, although I am also kind of approaching the point where I just don't believe that there's any healthy way to interact with Twitter, except for not using it. But it's just like, it's very it's very, the whole point of the tweet. Like, here, let me read back, like, part of it. Like, literally the whole point is just to try to get them to understand each other more, right? This is not meant to be a personal attack or in any way disparaging. At minimum, I would recommend that they each try to understand the other's perspectives in this light, since there is more nuance to each approach than they likely believe there to be. Like, that was the whole, that was the ask. Like, just to, like, hey, you know, just, like, think on each perspective, because you probably are each being, like, a little reductive here, right? Like, that was the ask. But I guess it's a sexism.
I submit to the evidence my complete amicability to that position, but that can only take you so far. And eventually, like, you're at the point where the arguments that you're making start to sound indistinguishable from conservative ones in some cases. One of the things he used to say, I'm trying not to bring this back to it, but, like, this is just what is on my mind, is that he's not, like, principally dedicated to capitalism. It's just the solution that he thinks is best. But recently he said that he thinks anyone advocating for socialism is indistinguishable for advocating for neo-Nazis.
Wait, hold on. Was that actually the quote? I'm pretty sure that the quote is that, like, most of the time, oh, hold on. I'm trying to remember the exact quote. This isn't me trying to, like, defend Destiny, but I'm pretty sure that, like, if we're being charitable to what Destiny meant, I'm pretty sure that, like, the meaning of the quote is that, a lot of people who advocate for, like, you all remember the Eat the Rich shit? Y'all remember, like, the Eat the Rich saga that I went through, right? Like, there is a salient criticism that a lot of people, and I'll you know, like, I'll agree now that, like, maybe it isn't, I won't say maybe, because I know that descriptively speaking, not every socialist does that, or does this, but I know that there are a lot of socialists. Can we up Rosh's? Yeah, sure. But I know that there are a lot of socialists who will advocate for mass violence in the same way that a lot of fascists do, right? Or very comparably to, right? Like, they'll use, like, Eat the Rich as a dog whistle for, like, advocating mass violence in the same way that a lot of fascists will use dog whistles to advocate for mass violence, right? Taxing the rich. Well, yeah, then if we eat the rich, we can't tax. Yeah, sure, there you go. Just like, but I'm pretty sure that's the criticism. That's the salient criticism, which, by the way, is entirely a salient criticism, right? You should tweet this before I steal it, yeah. But I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that's the whole point. And, like, there is a salient criticism there, right? Like, if you are not like, here's basically where I'm at with the socialist arc, right? At this point, I don't think I'm able to justifiably say that every single socialist is advocating for violence against the wealthy, because at this point, I mean, like, after the Richard Wolff debate, I just don't know what socialism is. But it seems to be the case that a lot of socialists do, unironically, and I mean, like, we can all agree on this with absolute certainty, right? Like, there are a lot of socialists who do unironically use kind of dog whistles like Eat the Rich, as ways to be able to dog whistle mass violence, right? And a lot of those people use that, a lot of people use socialism as the justification for that kind of dog whistling, right? Those poor oppressed rich. We don't advocate political violence against anyone, period, full stop. If you joke about that, I'm gonna ban you from the server. All right. If you joke about mass violence against someone, then I'm straight up no, like zero tolerance. I am banning you from the server. All right. No. And there are a lot of socialists who will use things like eat the rich to dog whistle mass violence in the same way that fascists do, right? And like that's the criticism, and that is an entirely salient criticism because that is consistent with how I have experienced the online left, and just how much of the online left actually wants to cause violence, wants to cause mass violence, right? Oh yeah, let's not forget how the rich is 2 steps away from the Jews. Yeah, and that's the other thing, right? That's the one thing that people won't talk about as much is that if you like if it's true that people who are Jewish disproportionately comprise people who are more wealthy in society, and you say eat the rich, then you will disproportionately cause more violence against people who are Jewish, right? So careful about that populism there. It's also, I'm pretty sure, why a lot of Nazbols end up the way that they do. I'm out of coffee. Yeah.
And seeing as how socialism is pretty much the alternative to capitalism, I don't know how many economic frameworks there are available out there, but it seems to me like if you're criticizing capitalism, that's usually where that comes from, unless you're talking fascism. So it seems that no, he actually is at this point principally devoted to the defense of capitalism. There were a lot of other things it feels like he's walked back onto, positions and convictions that he used to have that no longer seem to be applicable. So that'd be my concern. Yes, there's a justification for his ill feelings towards lefties, but you can only take that so far before you start doing the thing you hate them for, right? Like that shit with Lance and the Hamas donations thing. Like, Jesus, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if you caught my coverage of your video where you outlined those points, but I thought you did a really good job of laying out arguments. And as somebody that is used to writing papers a lot and doing outlines, like it was clear to me that like, okay, this is well thought out. You're not going to be able to poke holes in like 98% of this. This is something that Steven needs to contend with. Like these are very clear problems, and he doesn't really have answers to them.
I mean, for me, it's not like the only thing that I want at this point is to distance my content from his. Obviously, my content's fond from him, and I don't care if the people who watch me want to watch him or whatever. They can do whatever they want. It's just like at this point, I don't get the impression any conversations with him can ever like result in positive outcomes at all. They're always going to end up, and this isn't entirely like on him. Obviously, I don't like him very much. So at this point, I'm going to feed into this. But any conversations at this point are just going to turn into this incredible, like protracted community-wide battle. There are people in my community who like him, so criticism that he makes that like it turns into this big fight between them and it lasts days and days and days. And oftentimes the conversations at their root are so misrepresented or so vacuous that it just feels like it's a waste. And I mean, I guess to substantiate that, I would point out like his Reddit. Anytime anything with me happens, these people talk about me like kiwi farmers. Christ, it's not.
Okay, so this conversation isn't about me anymore. Okay. Well, we're gonna talk about to the extent that I'm discussed. Let's make a short, fam.
Thing. Have you seen? Have you seen RGR's tweet that kind of explains the difference in your approach to Steven's approach?
Oh crap. Also, I'll have to take a break at 7, by the way. Cringe in YouTube chat. Yeah, that sounds cool. Let's see. All right, there you go. You're modded. Thank you. Riley, I do want to say before you make a response, do a bit of an emotional self-check and ask yourself if you're calm enough right now. Remember that we don't want to be responding in anger anymore. Yeah.
And do you have a reason?
Oh my god! I mean, we'll go back over it. If it's like too emotionally charged, then we'll edit it down. Oh yeah, don't worry. No, I just changed the colors. Oh, so hey Pixie, you remember when I made that tweet about Vosh and Destiny? Well, Vosh said I did a sexism. That was Vosh's response, was that I acted sexist towards him. Yep. Yep. I did a sexism. Just totally what happened. When you literally missed the entirety of the point.
Have you seen RGR's tweet that kind of explains the difference?
Oh.
Have you seen RGR's tweet that kind of explains the difference in your approach to Steven's approach?
Yeah, it's like
To Steven's approach. RGR's tweet that kind of explains the difference in your approach to Steven's approach.
yeah, it's like still need to respond to her on that. Yeah. Yeah, it's like yes, I've seen that. Yeah, it's like still need to respond to her on that. Yeah, it's like still need to respond to her on that. Yes, I've seen that tweet.
And do you have like reviewed opinions on that?
I respectfully disagree. Seen that tweet. I respectfully disagree. My principal criticism of Destiny is that he is not interested in finding the truth when it comes to interacting with lefties. I think he's incredibly hateful towards them, and it makes him say incredibly stupid stuff. So, the dichotomy that was laid out by RGR honestly felt to me incredibly hateful towards them, and it makes him say incredibly stupid stuff. I respectfully disagree with my principal criticism of Destiny. He's not interested in finding the truth when it comes to interacting with lefties. I think he's incredibly hateful towards them, and it makes him say incredibly stupid stuff. So, the dichotomy... stupid stuff. So, the dichotomy that was laid out by RGR honestly felt to me like a very nice version of, like, men and women are... A very nice version of, like, men and women aren't better or worse than each other. Men are logical and women are emotional, you know? That's kind of how it felt a little bit to me. Like, oh... That's kind of how it felt a little bit to me. Like, oh yeah, Vosh is like the emotional one, which I reject that criticism.
What? Yeah, that was... And then you hear me off in the corner.
When women are emotional, you know? That's kind of how it felt a little bit to me. Like, oh yeah, Vosh is like the emotional one, which I reject that criticism.
All right, we'll cut down the volume a little bit here. So Vosh's point isn't really that he felt... No. He said, all right, hold on. We'll record Here. Let me get the... Here.
In your mind?
I think just one more thing. Have you seen RGR's tweet that kind of explains the difference in your approach to the supererogatory talk that you had with Stephen? Because it seemed like during that time, the
Victim of sexism. That's my take.
okay.
To me, like, oh yeah, Vosh is like the emotional one, which I reject that criticism. I think that I do an admirable job of trying to assess the truth of the situation, and I think that Destiny does so when he's not dealing with lefties. You know, that's pretty much the main criticism that I have. I would have to reread the post to fully remember like the broader premises, but that's my feeling. In short,
Yeah.
I have been sexist against. I have been the victim of sexism. That's my take.
Oh,
Yeah, literally. There you go. Yep, there you go. That's my honest read. Wait, hold on. Zetch. So in honesty, I think his "I'm the victim" is a sarcasm allegory, even if the rest of the criticism is bland and dumb. It's just an allegory. That's my honest read. It comes off way too dry to be /S for 100% sure, but I think that's his angle. Then what's the allegory? Then what's he analogizing to? And I also understand, I guess, the underlying drive to express the dynamic. He's low-key calling you a liberal, biased, reductive /uninformed. Yeah. He also said that, like, yeah, we've been over this. I mean, like, if that's the case, I don't know what the analogy is too, right? You're saying that his approach is as valid as Destiny's, but you don't really believe that. Wait, is that as valid? No, I've literally never said to the contrary. I've literally never said to the contrary that his approach is not better or worse. Like, again, like, let's go over it again. Let's go over it one more time, since people are not listening. I specifically to be clear, I specifically and expressly stipulated that that this is not to say that Vosh often makes incorrect arguments. This is just to say that, like, he has a different value judgment than Destiny that makes them in certain situations act differently when in large part they act the same. He's saying that you're making a reductive binary to favor you in the same way that we have reductive patriarchal constructive binary gendered stereotypes to affirm patriarchal supremacy. But then if you watch for another minute after denying your analysis, he goes on to say that as a utilitarian, he doesn't care about intentionality, LMFAO. Yeah, for real. Like saying that men are logical and women are emotional, and those are equally valid. Yeah, I don't think that's... I think he's saying you're oversimplifying him/Destiny approach. It's a really yikes way. My only point is I don't think he literally called you out for being sexist. Literally, it's just a dumb allegory to be... All right, well, then that's like... All right, that's really fucking weird way to put it, then. There's more to it than just an oversimplification. That is the worst possible way. Like, he literally, like... I think that y'all are being extremely charitable. Maybe you got to get into a convo with him to see if you could hash out these issues. I asked him to talk. Did you all hear me? Did you all see this? Hey, I've been thinking a lot lately and wrote this out. Let me know if you want to chat about it. Totally fine. If not, either way, hope you're doing well. I already asked! And he specifically didn't! So if I hear another person saying, hey, maybe you should talk to Vosh about this, I already offered when this went up because I tried to be nice. And you know what I get for trying to be nice? Accused of a sexism or using or if we want to be super fucking charitable, accused of not accused, but how do we even like say this? Like, do you all not acknowledge that, like, if this is like an analogy, that this is the worst possible analogy ever? It's either saying that I'm acting, it's either like a claim that I'm acting sexist in some way, or that I'm acting in such a way where it is as bad as if I were to have acted sexist, right? Who the fuck asked? Yeah, except I literally said I literally said I didn't. Like, that criticism? Except I literally didn't say that. Like, if he... Hold on. Except I literally didn't say this. He's saying that you're acting ignorantly and reductively in the way deliberately motivated to frame libs as good and lefties as bad. I literally didn't say that, and I made sure to explicitly stipulate that, like, his approach is fine. Like, this is just the reaction of someone who didn't actually read it or is blatantly mischaracterizing what I said. Then say you're not saying that instead of attacking the sexism thing. I can attack both. Fuck that. Are you seriously going to expect me to sit here and be like, oh, you know, I don't really care that he called me sexist or that, you know, he made this really, really bad analogy, right? Like, yeah, like I can be able to criticize both. Do we have to do like a written response? Do we have to, is that like what we're doing? Hold on. All right, fine. You know what? Fuck it. We're going to do a very in-depth written response. That's how atomistic we're going to be about this. This is... I really encourage you. I already reached out to him. No, I'm not. I already did, and I tried to be as nice as I could be. All right? People are like, oh, Riley, you should reach out. I already did. I did do that. And not only did he not respond, but he went up and says this shit now? Like, for real. For real. Like, at what point do I start? Like, at what point? No, I'm absolutely going to criticize him for this. This is so this is massively critic worthy. All right, fine. First, this is just wrong. Second, this is blatant. All right, that's what we're doing. Boss versus RGR now? No, I'm probably just gonna block him on Twitter. I mean, if this is the way I'm going, like, listen, I tried to help, and if this is the way I'm gonna be treated for fucking trying to help, then no, fuck that. I'm just not gonna interact with him. That's bad faith as shit. Your posture, yeah, whatever. This is just. What? Are you... Not that one.
One more thing. Have you...
It's not that one.
Because their hearts are in the right place and they're pushing an ideology.
Well, it's not wholeheartedly. I understand why Riley feels those things.
I completely understand why Riley feels those things. Hey, though, I mean, listen, I'm just gonna drop this and I'm just not gonna talk about it. All right, I'm just gonna block Vosh. Like, this is awful. All right, like, if this is the way he's gonna treat me for trying to help, fuck that. I'm just not gonna, like, when people like respond this way when I try to be helpful and provide constructive feedback, then no, I'm not going to interact with them. That's toxic as fuck. Can you imagine if someone tried to give me like constructive criticism, like, hey, Riley, you know, I think that you did really well, or I think that there are a lot of things that warrant your approaches, but I think that there are some things that you could be able to agree on. And I was just like, you know what I think that this is? I think that you're acting sexist. I think that you're acting fucking sexist to me. I am a victim of a sexism. Like, no, that's not how you respond. It's not. Criticism is good. You don't just hurt people for giving you constructive criticism. Like, people, this is not hard. I tried so hard to be charitable. Riley, what do you think his criticism is against literally being besides rape? Hold on, no, Pixie, I understand what the criticism is. I understand that he's trying to say that, like, you know, I'm basically saying that, like, oh, you know, like, but I'm pulling the same kind of thing as in, like, oh, both approaches are fine, but, you know, like, one is inherently better than the other. And no, I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say that, like, one is inherently better than the other. The reason why I wrote this was because in the aftermath of the AJW debate, I actually literally thought, oh, you know who would have been really good for this conversation? Vosh would have been good for this conversation because he's more focused on the intent of the other party than I was in that instance, and he would have been better. That's the whole reason I wrote this. I wrote this the day after because I was thinking, like, you know, what would be a good mentality to go into that debate with? And the idea of the ideal mentality to go in there would be someone like Vosh. That's the reason I wrote this, was to give him a compliment, to say that, like, that's where he would have been good. That was the whole point of this, is to recognize, actually, there's some merit to this that I didn't think that there was before because I'm trying to move away from it. No, it's not blocking people over disagreements. Hold on. I'm very explicitly clear about why I block people. I block people when they don't make any, so it's like a couple things, right? But the first and foremost, the most important one is when people don't make any reasonable effort to actually be responsive to my arguments. This is like failing to understand what I'm saying at all. At all. I feel like Vosh would talk. All right, hold on. If one more person says that Vosh wants to talk to me after I literally messaged him to talk to him, I'm banning you. All right, straight ban. If anyone actually does that, I'm banning you. All right. No, if anyone said from here on out, I'm literally like, here. I got my hand on the trigger. If anyone else says that, then I'm going to ban you because I already did that. And if you're going to tell me, Riley, are you going to do that thing that you already did and you've already said that you've done, you've already shown that you've done, I'm banning you. All right, I will. Straight up. No question. I don't care who you are. You could be an admin. You can be a mod. I don't care. Straight ban. I'm tired of being told to do things that I've already done. As if I'm like fucking stupid or I haven't done them already. I don't know. Like, I don't want to get heated, but I really feel like when the thing that makes me the most mad is when people don't listen to me. If I feel like I'm not being listened to after I start repeating myself, I will get mad. All right? So, if I get the impression that I keep repeating myself to my chat and you are not listening to me, then I will ban you. All right? That will be the quickest way to actually get on my bad side. It's not even about standing... I mean, like, sure, it's about standing up for myself, but it's like, I just want to be heard. No one fucking listens. What the fuck was I doing? God damn it. Except I literally didn't. I can criticize. It's not that one.
One more thing. Have you?
Allegory. Then what's he announced often? All right, hold on. We have to go back and get the clip one more time.
I think he's incredibly hateful towards them, and it makes him say incredibly stupid stuff. So the dichotomy that was laid out by RGR honestly felt to me like a very nice version of like, men and women aren't better or worse than each other. Men are logical and women are emotional. You know, that's kind of how it felt a little bit to me. Like, oh yeah, Vosh is like the emotional one, which I reject that criticism. I think that I do an admirable job of trying to assess the truth of the situation, and I think that Destiny does so when he's not dealing with lefties. You know, that's pretty much the main criticism that I have. I would have to reread the post to fully remember like the broader premises, but that's my feeling. In short,
Yeah.
I have been sexist against. I have been the victim of sexism. That's my take.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it's not unreasonable to be hurt by that.
Agree. My principal criticism of death. Men are logical and women are emotional. You know, that's kind of how it felt a little bit to me. Like, oh yeah, Vosh is like the emotional one, which I reject that criticism. In short,
Yeah.
I have been. Oh yeah, Vosh is like the emotional one, which I reject that criticism. In short,
Yeah.
I have been sexist against. I have been the victim of sexism. That's my take.
Yeah.
Have you seen RGR's tweet that kind of explains the difference in your approach to Steven's approach?
Yes, I still need to respond to her on that. Yes, I've seen that tweet. I respectfully disagree. Yes, I respectfully disagree. My principal criticism of Destiny is that he is not interested in finding the truth when it comes to interacting with lefties. I think he's incredibly hateful towards them, and it makes him say incredibly stupid stuff. So the dichotomy that was laid out by RGR honestly felt to me like a very nice version of like, men and women aren't better or worse than each other. Men are logical and women are emotional. You know, that's kind of how it felt a little bit to me. Like, oh yeah, Vosh is like the emotional one, which I reject that criticism. In short,
Yeah.
I have been sexist against. I have been the victim of sexism. That's my take. In short, I have been sexist against. I have been the victim of sexism. That's my take.
So this really hurt to hear. All right. So this. Sure. Yeah, I appreciate it. All right, let me listen to this again. All right. So this really hurt to hear for a number of reasons. First, this is just a blatantly wrong reading of my criticism. I made explicitly clear to say that my criticism was not that Vosh makes incorrect arguments. I also No, it's fine. I mean, like, I enjoy doing this on stream. Also, RGR, you think the same as Destiny, look at the arguments and don't operate well for bad faith audiences, but that's exactly who's going to scrutinize your response. Well, then fuck those people. I don't know. This will be a good way to purge those people from people who I interact with. All right? If you're going to look at what I said and you think that I'm reading anything like what he was suggesting, then yeah, I don't know. I don't want to associate with you. Because you do not extend me any charitability, even though I try to do everything I can to give it. First, this is just a blatantly wrong reading of my criticism. I made explicitly clear to say that my criticism was not that Vosh makes incorrect arguments, and never said that he doesn't care about finding the truth. Never said that he doesn't care about finding the truth. I also specifically was not arguing that his approach was a bad one. I wrote this up the day after my debate with actual justice, because this is for dealing with The point was just to say that this which I think you unknowingly stepped on one of Vosh's insecurities, which he saw as saying he doesn't care about truth. Like I want Demon Mamas is being called irresponsible representative of the trans community based on her public platform. Yeah, I mean, that could very well be true. But I mean, like, all right, if you're just going to, like, get all defensive when I try to, like, give constructive criticism and help you, then you're toxic and I don't want to associate with you. I'm just making it clear to everyone. I'm just making it clear to everyone why I was trying to help, right? Like, I was trying to help. But if this is the way that I'm treated for trying to help, then fuck that. So this really hurt to hear for a number of reasons. First, this is just a blatantly wrong reading of my criticism. I made it explicitly clear to say that my criticism was not that Vosh makes any incorrect arguments. I made very clear to say that my criticism was not that Vosh makes incorrect arguments and never said that he doesn't care about finding the truth. I also specifically was not arguing that his approach was a bad one. I wrote this up the day after my debate with Actual Justice Warrior because I think Vosh's approach is ultimately better for dealing with bad faith actors. Would have ultimately been better for dealing with when dealing with a bad faith actor. The point of the post was just to say that this approach can sometimes also lead to issues when dealing with good faith actors, which ironically is the case here. Because secondly, okay. What time is it? Hey chat, I have to go. So I'll be back in a little bit. But yeah, I have a meeting right now, so I'll be back. I'm probably gonna start up my stream again at like 8. So I'll be back around 8. All right. Yeah, join the Discord if you haven't already. Yeah, go ahead and do that. I'll talk to y'all